This video is sponsored by Skillshare. Stick around till later to learn more.
Oh, let me just sit down over here. Oh, God. Oh, the demonetization is so big. Oh, shit.
Oh, God, 10 BBW nudes.
Special guest today for the Ghost of Tsushima review. This is ThiccBoi, ladies and gentlemen. The trio is back on the couch to talk about Sony's latest opus. Or is it?
And I won't be man-spreading this time.
Well, we'll try, and the video is dropping soon.
You're gonna sit like this?
Yeah, I'll do like I've got a football photo.
This is
I just need a football in the middle.
This is the drop. Alright guys, so Ghost of Tsushima. We saw this last year at E3, it was revealed, and we were like, hey.
I cannot fit on this freaking couch.
Yeah.
Oh, that's your problem.
Now, can you move over a little bit over? It's
How
that
do you
metal
move a little
bar,
bit over?
man.
I'm sitting on the middle bar now. You're right.
I'm just really comfortable.
Alex, move over, you big boy.
It's like, what is that? King Jabu Jabu.
We saw...
King Zora.
There we go.
So we basically saw this at E3 last year. It looked really cool. We were like, sign me up for that. Thank you very much.
It wasn't even at Ghost E3 last year. It was actually the year before. It went
the year
completely
before.
silent, this game. So we
Correct.
originally thought maybe there's a serious problem with this game. We haven't seen any marketing. We haven't seen anything on this. There's no updates whatsoever. But boy, were we wrong. This is actually very good, everybody.
This is amazing. This is an amazing game.
This is the best game that I've played in 2020, and it's probably my favorite game in a very long time.
This is the best game I've played in 2020, as in finished. Because obviously I played Cyberpunk. Haven't finished that yet, so I can't say. But so far, this is the best, most polished game I have played. Most impressive game, just overall for this year. This is
I would
really
agree.
impressive.
most polished game that's not from Poland. Okay?
I think-
'Cause Cyberpunk's also pretty polished.
For me, it would be between Half-Life Alyx and this, and this one. This one takes the cake for
But
me.
that was last year.
Half-Life Alyx
It
was
was this year.
Was it? Oh
Yeah,
my
yeah.
god, I knew that.
We've done this.
So yes, it's a seriously impressive package. Let's explain why rather than just gushing about it. It's open world samurai game. You know how for years we've been asking for an open world like RPG samurai game,
Or even Assassin's Creed,
or
we've been
even
asking for that.
Assassin's Creed Japan. Finally.
This makes me glad they didn't do it.
Oh yeah, 100%.
Because this was executed in a way that, God, it is just beautiful.
we will
yeah.
come back to more comparisons to Assassin's Creed.
I
don't worry.
think that the world itself, I've never played in a world that feels so calming yet engaging, and that was for me really good. I'm the type of guy that needs to, like after an hour and a half, 2 hours, I need a bit of a break, like 20 half an hour break, and then I go back to it. With this, you can just keep playing all the time.
Yeah. So I think, well, firstly, I genuinely believe this is the most beautiful video game world that I've played within.
Me too.
It is stunning. You were saying what? There's like 40
So
biomes.
the map is divided. It's Tsushima, the island. It's divided to 3 regions, and within that island there are 40 biomes they have created. And biome essentially is like environment, right? So you'll go to one area and it's this sprawling field of like red flowers, and in the next area it's tall trees like the
Golden
autumn
leaves.
falling. The next area it's an Arctic tundra. The next area it's a burnt out battlefield.
and they look
right?
so unique and just.
Every one of them.
There was not a single one that I didn't think looked absolutely stunning. Whether it was
Incredible.
barren and just the pampas grass,
Oh yeah.
or it was, you know, the woodland, like it was just beautiful. And the use of color, like I didn't play this game in HDR and it still looked
It was
unbelievable.
absolutely incredible. And there was an option to play it in like black and white, but like you would have just missed out on so much.
It was
It's a
cool,
good
though.
because they have a Kurosawa mode, which you can play the entire game in black and white. Plus, it also sort of down mixes the audio track to be
Like a
little more
mono-
staticky,
And
and
film
also
grain
a
and
really
stuff.
hard stereo track.
Yeah,
Film grain,
very
applied.
raspy.
It's a really nice love letter to the whole Kurosawa, you know, Japanese like samurai film thing. However, it is objectively the most useless feature implemented in a
100%.
video game of all time.
It's like fast travel for Spider-Man. You
Because
don't use it.
if you rob yourself of the color in this game, you're crazy. You know what I mean? So hats off to the devs for going that extra mile, but it was so useless because the color in this game is the contrast that these spaces create with their use of color is unbelievable.
I agree
It's
with
like
Unbelievable.
levels of. I haven't seen this use of color in a game since Mirror's Edge.
that popping.
Just popping reds, popping greens, yellows against a lot of white, and
And
Yeah, it was so vivid.
And also a world in motion. This is what is so interesting about it as well.
It looks so alive.
Every part of it is always swaying in
Leaves
the breeze.
falling.
Or leaves falling.
Because-
as you walk, like leaves were kicked up underneath. Did you see the samurai battle in that cave? And there were those floating lanterns?
Oh.
No, I didn't see that.
Yes,
No, it's one of
the
the-
well, we're not gonna spoil it for
there's-
that quest.
There's a quest, yep.
You get
And
the
so
thing.
as you're fighting, you're literally kicking these floating paper lanterns like near your feet as you move around. Like just so much movement in the world. And they actually comment about this, the developers, they wanted to create the stillness and structure and order of like built world, the Japanese like architecture. And it's very firm and still and like, you know, whatever. And then the natural world is just flowing all the time. It's like one of those things in a car yard. You know what I mean?
It's a wacky
That is
flailing
what
inflatable-
this
inflatable
game
arm tube
is.
man.
It is this though.
Little tube man, what? So
yeah,
I
it's
think,
incredible.
yeah, it's one of the most impressive games, all in terms of aesthetically, that I've ever seen. And I think that a lot of games now are going to look at this and go, "Wow, the bar has been raised."
It's absolutely
But like,
right.
also,
And I think
like,
even just on the level that like the wind is what guides you to your waypoints.
Yes.
Yeah.
The use of wind in the game not only means that there's no map markers and you're appreciating just the world in front of you, but also all the leaves
Like you need
in
to
the
use the
environment,
world.
all of the particle effects and the debris, they flow with your waypoint. So it just really gives the world this alive sort of quality.
Definitely. But I think also from that, like the actual story within the world segment, there we go, is
That was a good segue.
I think pretty
Very smooth.
Great. I think the story.
God, my ass is so sore right
Is it
now.
really
Come on, snuggle in, just
No, it's
snuggle
fine.
in.
I'm good. I got it.
The story itself, I think, did a very good job. I don't think it's the best story ever, but I think for what it was doing, it was a perfectly fine vehicle to explore this world.
Yeah, so I think the story, the writing was, I wouldn't say a weakness of this game. It's just every other part shines so brightly. This is the one part that's a little dimmer, you know? It's not a particularly interesting game most of the time in terms of the story. You know, it's like you'll meet someone, they've had something terrible happen to them, you've got to go get revenge, or you've got to go help them take care of some bandits and clear out their home, or they've got some family heirloom that needs to be recovered.
Yep.
It doesn't feel phoned in because I think when we talk about these open world side quests, we kind of get the impression they're like, oh, I need 10 goat skins, go. It's not like that. It's not lazy, okay? They have put a lot of work into each story feeling like real, and the performances are, you know, relatively convincing.
And emotional, I
And
feel.
emotional, like there's an emotional depth to it all, but at the same time, it's all just kind of flat. It all sort of feels a little bit the same the whole way through.
I did feel that there were some genuine twists and turns within those quests. So it's funny. The writing, I think, it's not weak, as you say.
Sure.
It's the writing is fine, but I think the events that actually take place are interesting. So it's a weird, like,
Well, I think in the main quest, yes, but then I think there's a lot of side content as well, and that's where it kind of feels all a bit samey to me.
you think so? See, I found the
so.
side content, you know, what happened within a quest. A quest is maybe 5-10 minutes max, and I find that what happens in that quest is interesting. But just the way it is written, the way the characters speak is just a bit, as you say, flat.
Yes.
Yeah, I was going to say.
So the interesting tale's kind of told flatly.
Yeah,
if that makes
flatly.
sense.
That sounds nice.
Nice one.
But I also think, like, you know, there are aspects to that I found really interesting and engaging, like, you know, the relationship that you do have with some of your family members.
Yes.
And also, off the back of that, the villain of this game actually felt quite one-dimensional. It didn't have that Thanos thing, which I do like, where I didn't find that there was real reasons for it.
I liked him. I
I
liked
liked him as a bad guy, but he didn't. He wasn't as engaging as some of the stories that I was seeing and some of the tussles that I was feeling that I was having philosophically with some of those people in my family. You know,
What I will say is, I think the end of each. So the game has really 3 acts.
Yeah.
The end of each act always blew me out of the water.
Sure.
I think
agree.
they were written well. The twists and turns that sort of unfolded were excellent, and it was all shot beautifully. They were great.
Yeah.
I think everything that happened leading up to the end of each respective act was just a bit.
One thing that elevates the side content for me is the structure of it. And I guess we can kind of talk about the open worldy stuff now. There are, like, I'd say 3 or 4 layers of quests. So then there's your main quests, okay? Fine, you go ahead and do those. They're always really cool, okay? Then there's the next layer, which is the side quests, but they're driven by your allies. And you meet people throughout the journey, and they have their own story arcs. And those story arcs are upwards of like 9 or 10 quests long. and they span the entire length of the game. So you'll do one side quest with one guy at the very start of the game, and you'll do maybe 3 or 4 with him in that region. Then you can't progress that quest line until you make it to the next region.
Correct.
What this does is it gives them the chance to tell mini main stories as they go through it, and it keeps you much more invested in the side quest. From a structural perspective, I really liked that a lot. I think that was fantastic.
And I think it did actually flesh out some of those companions in meaningful ways.
For sure.
I was going to say, and I felt like you also got tangible progression as things from those quests. You know, like a lot of side quests, you might just get gold or something.
Yeah.
But like there was actually things that you were getting, like, of course, you are upgrading your total legend in the whole area, but you're also getting
It's like your level, basically.
but you're also getting items and stuff that really made the game different, I think.
Yeah, but I think as well, what it kept, for me personally, those side quests really gave me something to work towards other than just the main quest for progression. So I'm like, I can't wait to get to the next region so that I can continue these 3 or 4 other quest lines
100%.
in addition to the main quest. And I think that
100%.
was really clever. I really like that. But even beyond that, it is an open world game, so you are talking about lots of map markers and lots of stuff to do. But at the same time, it's all optional. There's no level gating, right? There's none of that grinding. You don't need to
more like
grind any
GTA.
bullshit. It's much more like GTA. And I really like the diversity of tasks that are available in the open world. Like, I think they were great.
That was,
100%.
Yeah, I think that was one of the things that really shone for me. Like every 100 square meters, there was something interesting to do, be it, you know, there was chasing animals, or there was like cutting certain things, or we don't want to spill it too much, but there was just ways to engage the environment in ways that just made it very engaging. And then of course at the end of it, you got certain things, be it vanity items or things that actually changed your progression in the story. And that again was a huge shining thing for me. It was like so good.
So I actually 100% of this game, which I never do with a game because
You did that with Spider-Man too, actually.
Yeah, Spider-Man. That didn't really count as a
Easiest platinum ever.
Go around and fight in every region for long enough. It was,
yeah.
This is actually, I explored map top to bottom, and I never ever do that in a game. So that for me really speaks to just how beautiful and engaging this world was, and those side activities are. I mean, look, they get a bit monotonous towards the end because you are doing the same thing. But the world and the beauty of the world is a reason to explore the entirety of the island.
So I would say I'm someone that is, like, I like open world games, but I also do get tired of them.
I'm tired of them at this moment.
I definitely feel that fatigue, but this was one game where I feel like that fatigue did set in for me at some times, but that I realized that was my own choice because I was doing too much of that side content. And then I was like, you know what? I'm just going to focus on some main content now and focus on some of the more interesting side quests. And because I wasn't level gated, because I wasn't forced to do boring bullshit, I could make that choice. And that's the difference for me.
It lets you determine your own pacing.
Exactly. Yeah, you know, so if I'm getting bored of something, I can just go over there, and that's what I did.
Definitely. I feel like one of the things about being in the review time, it's always a bit hard to know if you've been exhausted because you need to just smash something out, or if the game is not good. So I actually tried this particular game to not play like all of it in one day kind of thing, or 2 days. Like I tried to spread it out, and I did feel like I wasn't getting exhausted with that open world. And I agree with you, I am a little bit like, oh, every second game's a goddamn open world these days. You know, it's such like a buzzword marketing thing. But with this, I feel like they really sharpened the edge of that stick of open world. Like I feel like this is the culmination of now 15 years of doing open world.
It's about 30 hours to finish, because I finished every single side quest and main quest, but I didn't do every map marker, and it took me about 30 to 35 hours. I don't know exactly.
Just the companion quests or the side quests?
All the side quests.
Really? Okay.
Yeah. So maybe look, I wasn't keeping exact track. It's somewhere between 30 and 40 hours to do that, because you did every map.
I did every map marker, every side quest. I 100%ed it except for there's some collectibles like artifacts. That kind of more run-of-the-mill kind of collectible things.
I finished it, but I didn't 100%.
That was about 45 hours, I think.
45, yeah.
I'd say 40 because it doesn't track your time play.
I think you can finish.
So I'd estimate 45.
You can finish this game in about 20 hours, I think. 15, 20 hours.
I mean, if you really
smash it out.
15 hours, I don't think that's possible.
And not only that, I think you'd be doing yourself a disservice.
I agree with that.
Because I really feel like power level in this game.
Sure. I'm just talking purely like main story.
If you want to rush through it, but I think again you'd be doing yourself a disservice.
Sure.
Because the side content is as interesting as it is. The world is as beautiful as it is. And not only that, but your player power really feeds into your experience of the story. Feeling as powerful as you can become in this game is almost like a plot device.
Definitely. And the legend that grows with that power.
Yeah, like when you take on each of the end of the respective acts, and because most of the missions are 10, 15 minutes, but those end of the acts, they're a bit longer, and they warn you as such so you don't start other quests. And when you're just working through these environments, just pushing through waves of enemies in the way that you can, and I suppose this is a good segue into combat, this combat is phenomenal.
I was going to say,
so good.
I don't think a game like this would have just been like, oh, the open world's pretty. Like, if you're going to be sitting there for 30, 40 hours, something needs to constantly hook you in more than aesthetically. And I felt like the combat system for me was like, wow, this is like, I mean, the stances itself, they do something that I haven't really seen before. I know you said Neo has done something similar to this. I didn't really jump into Neo. I played like an hour of it or whatever. But this one really brought this stance kind of mechanic where every single different enemy would give you a different option of how you needed to fight them ultimately. If they had a shield, you need to change to a stance that would aid you against breaking shield stances. It was phenomenal how microsecond changes could keep the fighting so fluid but so interesting. It was incredible.
For me, this is the best third-person combat since like God of War. It's up there for me with the Souls series. I love
better than Sekiro.
Sekiro has the best combat since Guitar Hero.
I think it's an interesting parallel because a lot of people are going to say, "Is this hard like Dark Souls?" No, definitely
it's a different game.
It's way easier. It's way more accessible. And Neo as well.
I definitely died in this.
Oh, I definitely died,
but a lot less later.
Yeah, not
a lot of fall damage for me. I
do a lot of fall damage. But like, if you were scared off by Sekiro because it was too hard or whatever, or you didn't like its rigidity. Like, you had to play Sekiro its way, and that was it. No other way you had to do it, okay? And Neo, I think, gives you a lot of expression, a lot of freedom, but at the same time, there's a lot of bullshit that locks you down, because a lot of the enemies can just one-hit KO you kind of thing. If you are looking for something way more accessible, this is it, okay? I'm not going to say it's better than those two, because I think they all have their own strengths, but I do feel as though this is the one I think I've had the most fun with, by far and away.
This is about as good as combat can feel.
It's a different game entirely, though.
It really makes you feel like a samurai.
Yeah, it does. I wouldn't want people to think that it is a Souls game at all by comparing it to Sekiro. It's not like that at all. It's more like Assassin's Creed or something. Like, it's more like that, It's
like again, I think the Assassin's Creed comparison is so apt, right? Because we have recently just played Valhalla, and when we did our impressions, we were like, listen, combat's fun, but it's really janky. It's very much about the animations. It's about how it looks and the executions, and limbs teleport everywhere, and like collision detection is bad, all that stuff. All that stuff is fucking perfect here in Ghost of Tsushima. It's astounding. If you slow down the footage sometime and watch like the hit detection between two weapons, it's like pixel perfect. The animations that flow from your like parrying and responding to things, your shift in foot, like your footwork, all of it is astounding. Like, I just cannot believe that they have produced combat this good. I mean, it's not like the deepest combat. It's not as deep as Neo, for example, but it just hits that perfect balance of like allowing for player expression, being challenging at the right level, and really building itself on strong fundamentals of like good animations and good collision hit detection. After
45 hours, I didn't get bored of the combat once.
Never once.
And in fact, I looked forward to each encounter. So, I mean, not only the
standoff thing.
Oh,
so
man.
good. You
never get over it.
You walk up to like another group of enemies, press the up on the D-pad to do a standoff thing. You sit there with your blade sheathed, waiting for them to move, and they'll like psych you out, and you're like, nah. And then they come forward and just like,
it was so good.
And you can shoot 5 of them.
And the aspect ratio very often in this game switches to 21:9, and it really tries to do this like cinematic kind of perspective, and it nails it.
Oh my god!
Because basically, like in true honor, or in true keeping with the samurai honor, they face their enemy front on, and he basically walks up to the front of like a stronghold and just says, "Bring out your strongest fighter," and that's how an encounter starts. And you basically the way it looks is just incredible. And I think more generally, the way this game feels is so thoughtfully considered. Like menus are so quick and snappy. It's the best horse I've ever used in a game. The horse is basically always behind you, ready to be rendered when you press the button. So instead of like, I don't know when you got what's the horse in Shadow of the Colossus? Argo. Like Argo is just like not coming over to you.
He's like,
just,
hang on, man, I'm eating some grass.
He's just grazing. Roach was good, but just didn't feel as great as this. I think it's the best video game horse.
Roach, and then you look up at a roof, and Roach is up there.
Honestly, the horse is always there. It just feels incredible. The bow and arrow in this game. I know that's a spoiler.
Well.
I mean, you get a bow in this game.
I mean, that's not a spoiler.
I don't know.
You get to kill enemies in this game, guys.
I don't think I saw this. 2 enemies were running at me. I slowed down time, right?
The arrow.
And I shot 2 enemies were running at me. I shot one of them in the face, and then the other one was running. And as he was running, he did these ones. He looked
like
at,
the Luigi look.
He looked
scared.
at the guy that just got shot in the face while he was running, and then he looked back at me, and I was just like, Pew.
Really?
And I was just like, I put the controller down there, and I'm just like, sucker punch. Holy shit!
Yeah, it's the best bow and arrow that I've felt in the game. Like the way that I feel like it's so thoughtfully considered in the way all of the interactions with the world take place. Like when you climb on top of a shrine, you can just press a button to go back down. You don't have to like tie.
Yeah, I think that's such an interesting point. I agree. Yeah, because like basically some games I think over-design themselves and they become really slick. And I think Ubisoft games fall into this, where there's so many things to help out the player and guide the player and do this and do that. The game feels like it's playing itself, right? This game I think is so perfectly designed to be such a smooth experience without feeling over-designed, without feeling like it's taking away from the experience. It's like you don't have to get off your horse to pick up something off the ground.
Oh man, so I was playing Horizon Zero Dawn right before because I'm just about to finish that.
Yeah.
Before I started whatever this game is called, Ghost of Tsushima. Man, having to stop and go through an animation to pick up every bit of Ridgewood was so frustrating. And then I started playing Tsushima, and I could just pick up, continuing to move on my horse. I can pick up all the resources I need. I feel like it's so many considerations. Like it sounds like a cliche, but it feels like it was made by people who play games and know what is annoying. So they got rid of it.
I feel like this game was extremely realistic, but also made it like they didn't put realism.
It knew when to be a game.
It knew when to be a game. You know, I remember when I first started watching you play. Before I even started, I was like, "Oh, like this is just so seamless that they're not afraid to lose a bit of realism." You know, and I hate when games do that shit. Like, I know I'm playing a game, for God's sakes. Let me play the game and enjoy it the way I am. But like, all in all, I really do think that this is one of the best games of 2020. It'd be hard pressed to see. I know Cyberpunk is going to be fantastic, but a different type of fantastic. I think this is a huge contender for Game of the Year, man. From what I've played, this definitely deserves a
This has to get a nomination. And in terms of the lifespan of the PS4, like this is number 2 for me behind God of War in terms of Sony exclusives.
Yeah, actually,
this edges it out over Blood. I loved Bloodborne, but just for me,
the episode was going too well until you said something was better than Bloodborne. You're not allowed to say anything is better than Bloodborne.
I love Soulsborne, but the way that they've just realized this world, and for me, it is just such an incredible way to end the PlayStation 4's life cycle.
What an incredible generation PlayStation has
They've
had.
nailed it.
It's getting to the stage of Nintendo now in terms of their IP and the quality that they keep putting out with their internal studios. Like it's crazy.
They've got 6 or 7 system-selling IPs. You know what I mean? Like, and it's just.
And I really hope this game as well doesn't get. Kind of, a lot of people are going to dismiss it as it's just another open world game. Is it really doing anything new? Okay, does this game break new ground? I mean, not particularly.
In some aspects.
Not even then. It just does the things that it just does them phenomenally well.
Yeah.
And it does so many of those things phenomenally well that you're like, holy shit,
and I think that's a great point, because this game unashamedly borrows elements from other games.
Batman.
Ubisoft open world, like in terms of
totally
so basically, there's these platforming sections. They're called shrines, and you've got to basically climb up a mountain and do all these things to get to the top. And everyone's done that. Horizon Zero Dawn did it with the tall necks, but this is the best implementation of that. You know what I mean? In my opinion, this is just nails it. You know, but it's just for me, it was done so well, and it's the stealth. You know, stealth can feel sometimes cumbersome in games. It can, kind of get a bit messy. This just felt like great stealth, and you could tell it was borrowing very much on Horizon Zero Dawn stealth, the tall grass, the sneaky bolt, but it just does it extraordinarily well. And I think what it borrows from other games, it improves upon. You know, it doesn't really regress in any of those kind of elements.
Anyway,
I feel it's a good game.
very good
It's
game.
a good game.
Check it out.
It's available on the Xbox Series X, the Nintendo Switch, the Dreamcast, and also the Neo Geo Pocket. It's coming on all those platforms.
And-
There's, I think, at the end of the year we got the tabletop as well.
yeah, and it's also
Tabletop
coming.
is
Tabletop Tsushima.
It's coming to GameCube too.
Nice, man.
That's it for Ghost of Tsushima. Go and check out that. And also, I'm going to go back and play other Sucker Punch games now because I felt like I've been sleeping on. I didn't really properly play Infamous.
And-
Just messed around with them, but now I feel like I need to go back and play.
And I think that's an important point because
Oh my
this for
God,
me.
we need to
Here we go. We need to end this episode.
But just quickly, I feel like this is Sucker Punch's like Jack and Daxter to Uncharted moment. Like Infamous is a great game, but then this is just such a massive step up for this studio. I was very impressed with
That
it.
is the episode.
There we
Ghost
go.
of
Bye.
Tsushima. Go and buy it now at your local sushi train.
I can do these stairs. I can do these stairs.
Bro, you are very, very unfit. Quarantine has done a number on you.
I thought sitting in quarantine in a couch for 6 weeks would strengthen my abs because sitting up so much, but no, I was wrong.
You know what you need, Sam?
Is it Skillshare?
Skillshare.
Okay.
Skillshare is an online learning community that offers membership with meaning. With so much to explore, real projects to create, and the support of fellow creatives, Skillshare empowers you to accomplish real growth.
There's home workout courses, nutrition, wellness courses, and many more. I'm feeling skinnier already.
Sam, you've literally just sat on this couch, read out some lines. How could you feel skinny?
Feeling better already. Let's continue.
Once you're done hitting the workouts, you can also take classes for animation, photo, and film, as well as storytelling and editing and a whole bunch of other stuff.
Whether you're inside with your own home workout routine or outside in the gym, why not? Let's get fit together because I need to do it and maybe you do too. Maybe.
You definitely need to, Sam.
I know I need to,
definitely
okay?
Skillshare is also incredibly affordable, especially when compared to pricey in-person classes and workshops. An annual subscription is less than $10 a month.
Click the link below. You guys get 2 free months of premium membership for the first 1,000 people. That's pretty cool.
Bad. Thanks very much to Skillshare for sponsoring the video.
Yes, we always appreciate you.
And thank you for watching.
And thank you. That was a nice, clean ending.
Very clean.
Skillshare, we hope you
One
enjoy that
take.
ending. Okay,
One
one
take.
take, baby.
Done.
We're out. Laymen out.